I wanted to speak specifically to you being a young Black man in America right now. Um, and your stand on this election and what it means, because a lot of people feel hopeless and they feel um, that it is a it is pointless, that either way you're supporting evil and white supremacy in this country, that both political parties support the system which has been in place before the political parties were even established. But what do you think about what's going on politically in this world, and how do you see these things?
In terms of what's going on now, I don't really feel like it's really different. I think people deluded themselves into an idea or a notion of what they believe the United States of America is. Um, this is where maybe people will start to see like where how different I am from you, or how different I am from uh regular voting crowd this time. I can understand when people feel like it's hopeless, but to a certain degree, I think if you look at politics, you usually have to get a moderate before things get better. Like, you usually need to reach a moderate. It's very hard to go from one side to the other. And the last time I can really remember that happening is I guess some people would consider when we went from Bush to Obama, that was a big swing. But if you look at Obama's presidency, Obama was realistically a moderate. So he didn't even go from far right to far left. Uh, we really just went from kind of right, who's Bush, because we found out there's a new right with Trump, to center with Obama. And I mean, with Biden, I don't like Biden. It's pretty easy for me to say that. Like, I just straight up, I always wanted Bernie to win the primary. I still think the DNC's clutches were in Bernie because they have more power and they're in cahoots with the ruling class and the people with money. So they don't want Bernie to win because he kind of burns down that establishment. He doesn't represent any of that stuff, and Biden does. I never thought Biden was an interesting choice, but at this point, they don't need an interesting choice. They just need somebody who can get the orange man out. Um, I think that a lot of people believe that the politics have made people more divisive, but I just for some reason don't understand why Americans' identity is based on their political affiliation. The identity politics argument people always make, like, my political beliefs don't impact the fact that I'm not a murderer, or I think people should go to jail and they do bad things. Like, I don't know why in America that makes you who you are. And I think that with been exacerbated with social media, Facebook, for example, and stuff. And that is actually what's making people divisive, because I think Trump is really just a tool that people use to further distance themselves from each other. I don't actually know if, I mean, obviously he is divisive because of people's opinion on him, but I'm not 100% certain that I would blame the divisiveness on him, because once Obama came in, people started distancing themselves depending on their political allegiances and beliefs and stuff like that. And I just feel like it's just been getting worse over time. And I feel like Biden won't necessarily fix that issue either, because the people who like Trump and vote for him, they just not going to disappear if he loses in this election.
So, I respect your opinion, but I disagree. I do think that Trump has added a layer of something that we didn't see with Obama. Obama kind of brought out the ghosts from behind the closets, right? We always knew the ghosts were there. Those of us who identify as people of color, Black people, brown people in this country have always felt it. Now white people are finally saying, oh man, this is not okay. But I do think that Donald Trump has signaled and sent out the calls to the white supremacist organizations. And I do think that he has caused, he's brought a level of chaos to this country that we just didn't have, in the name of being not a politician, not of the establishment. He tricked people by this. He's a businessman. He's going to turn this country into this whatever. And then what he did was came in, you know, he's just pimping the country, making money, him and his family making money off the country. Do you think that if I was president, I would do this to America with you and your sister and my family? What I would do to America, what Donald Trump has done, knowing who I am?
No, but I wouldn't compare you to one of the worst known humans on Earth currently.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I just think that, and listen, Earl, you're entitled to your opinion, and we all are entitled to the opinion. You know, I raise my kid to respect other people's opinions, and so that we can have these dialogues. Sometimes I do engage the comment section with the people who I know are healthy within their, healthy within their own opinions, and we can have exchanges. I think when you say burners need to let it go, I think a lot of people did let it go. I think the people who hate the burners need to let it
Hey,
go.
I voted for Biden, man, so I let it go.
But the thing is, you know, I do agree with what you're saying, though. I think Donald Trump is a symptom of the disease of white supremacy and racism in this country, and to put it all on him, it kind of excuses everybody else who's been complicit and
That's like my
responsible.
problem there. I just feel like they're kind of making it like once Trump is gone, it'll be good. Like, nah. I just think,
Nah,
yeah, the people, they just needed a zeitgeist, and that's him. And they could, unite behind him. And I think I didn't see the quote, and I'm not trying to cut you off, but anyone who's talking about like Bernie supporters or whatever, for some reason, it just seems like that Bernie, people who support Bernie for some reason get like this unnatural disdain. And I never really understood why Bernie supporters get this level of disdain when Bernie is arguing for the well-being of the most of Americans. I never understood the disdain for him. I have let it go. There's a good amount of people who are now apathetic because Bernie didn't win. But I subscribe to the belief of the politics thing. It's like a bus. You take the bus that gets you closest to where you're trying to go. You're not always going to get the bus that takes you exactly to the Staples Center when you're trying to watch a game. Sometimes you're going to take the bus that's a couple of miles away and you got to walk the rest of the way. So to Earl, I didn't want it to sound like I was some disdained, apathetic Bernie supporter. I just am a Bernie supporter. I'm disappointed with how that turned out, and I don't necessarily feel that it was all the way a fair fight. But ultimately, I do still want the best for the people that we can do at the time. So yeah, I support Biden, even though I'm not enthusiastic about it.
yeah, somebody just posted that that we are biased, and I'm like, that is the problem in this country, is that everybody's opinion is biased. That's what an opinion is our personal views. We don't, the problem when bias becomes a problem, it's when it affects other people's lives, right? So if I was in office and I was biased, then that would be an issue, because I would be impacting the everyday lives of other people. But bias is natural because we all have our own biases and we all have our own opinions. And that's the problem with us in this country, that people demonize other people who see things differently than them, but everyone has different experiences. That being said, if your opinion and the way you see things is directly affecting the way that my survival and my humanity, then we got a problem. But if you hate Black people, or you hate Puerto Ricans, or you hate women, and you over there, you well within your right. For me, I cannot spend my day and my life trying to change other people's opinions to like Puerto Ricans or Black people or women. And I think that's where we spend so much time on that we don't get things done that really affect the everyday lives of our people. No shit that some white people hate us. No shit that some men hate us. No shit that some people are homophobic. We know this shit every day. We see it every day. What I want to know is that that realtor that I'm dealing with, or that person who's giving me a bank loan, or that person who is in charge of my transcripts and me getting into a school, doesn't employ those beliefs into what's happening with me. And so what I'm not going to apologize for saying things the way, seeing things the way I see them, and I'm certainly not going to teach my kid to do that. And yes, opinion is different than bias. We get it, Greg. But what I'm saying is, when that person said bias, it was in the context of opinion and not what bias actually means. So, Omar, back to the but we do this sometimes here on
Biases are only have a negative connotation in in a position of impartiality anyway. So I never really understood how a political view can hold no bias. I mean, that's quite literally impossible. The things you want to be not biased are judges, things that require impartiality, doctors, because stuff like that, that's why we hold those jobs and things to a certain degree or to a certain standard, because it's kind of important that these people are least biased as possible, because no one's ever going to not be biased. In terms of whoever, you know, was disagreeing with the fact that, or was upset that we're biased, or I don't know how to answer that question. I'm sure that person is biased against the beliefs that I hold. I mean, there's just, that's kind of a philosophy argument, and I'm not sure you could ever really come to a definitive answer there. I think most people are biased in the United States, whether it's skewed one way or the other.